All right, guys. Hey, this is Casey with STL Men's Group. I am joined tonight by Justin, Aaron, and Zane. And we're just going to get started. Again, STL Men's Group, we're just a group of guys out here, better men for the betterment of St. Louis. So, all right. Anybody got anything that jumped off the page tonight, or any like little nugget that you want to share about what we kind of covered?
Some of this we've discussed before in other men's groups, but it's always great to have a reminder on it. I feel that I've definitely had some areas where I've lacked, and some of that is, things I can't control, but some of it's that 20% that, is just going to happen and is really hard to control. So I think just having better structure overall is what I need, and then having that prompt to kind of reiterate that was really impactful.
Yeah, Zane, when you're talking about the 20%, shout out to Matt Granados and Life Pulse. He's the one who talks about 80% of your life is controllable, 20% of your life is uncontrollable. If you don't account for the 80%, when the 20% comes, it feels like 100%. So making sure that we've got, what we have on our plate crossed off, or at least accounted for. So when that 20% comes, we can take care of it.
Yeah. I feel like that happens with like some things in my company and things like that, because so there's that 20% that you can't always control. And so I had a pretty big job that was scheduled last Friday, and I kind of wrote about it, and it was just out of my control. There was that 20%. I did everything right. I, kept updates with the client, gave him a bid, timely, and did all of those things. But, some things in life just happen. You just can't control the little bit. So that was a struggle last week that we had, and it was a decently sized job that was definitely going to help us out, but sadly they canceled. They had some family emergency stuff happen, and it's just part of it.
Sometimes that 20% punches you in the face.
And it feels like 100% every single time.
Yeah. What about you, Justin?
I think a big thing that I've worked on recently is really just controlling that 80% in my own personal life. I actually downloaded this app called the Habit app. And it's an app where I can track, kind of just set like everything to do. Like I have like brush my teeth on there, read a book for 10 minutes, read my Bible verse every day. Mm-hmm. And on that app, you can see like the percentage of completion every month. So by the end of like each week and every month, I go to check that app and make sure that I'm hitting that 80%. And I have that as a goal for myself to make sure that my 80% is covered every week.
Love that. You said that was the Habit app?
Yes.
Is it free?
It is, but you can also get a $5 a year. You can get the premium plan.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what that plan comes with that plan, but I did get the plan. So
okay,
yeah,
Nice.
I'm a sucker for those deals.
Yeah,
But
$5 for a year. That's
Yeah,
like one Starbucks
that's a
coffee.
steal.
Yeah.
Right. The one that I have is the operator system with Andy Frisella, and that one is $50 a month, but it has so many different AI integrations into it. It's insane, but it's kind of just like that. You go through, you do the day before, what your goals you want to hit, and it helps a lot, because then you get notifications and you can go back to it. You can click it, click your task is done. You get like experience, and you can level up kind of thing. So it's like you're leveling up on life, and it makes you feel a lot better about what you're doing and making sure that you get those goals checked off, which I really like.
Money, everybody's like money conscious. We all probably have gym memberships that we spend money on. For a long period of time, I was doing counseling and therapy once a week, so 4 times a month, and it was like upwards of $550 a month. So it's one of those things where, okay, paying $5 for an app, a lot of people be like, oh, I don't want to do that, and it's like literally one Starbucks coffee, or like even $50 a month. It's like, that's one meal out. If you got a significant other, like my wife and I go to dinner, we go to sushi, it's like $80. And that's not, we don't even drink. That's not even with sake. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like sushi rolls.
I mean, you can go to Chick-fil-A and spend $50.
Oh, easily.
It's so easy just to, there it is. And so it's like you give some and you get, what's that $50 really worth to you?
Yeah. So placing that money, where the priority is, and some of us, it's really easy to convince somebody to spend money for a gym membership, but to do stuff for their mental health, that's such a crazy stretch for people. But it's like, no, when you think about it like that, it's kind of a no-brainer. So $50 a month, shout out to Andy Frisella, but unfortunately it's closed right now. Open it back up for my boys, dude.
Please.
Yeah. So, we talked about how everything can kind of be broken down into 4 categories in your life: internal, relational, physical, and professional. I know for me, I asked if anybody rated theirs under a 5. I'll call myself out. Last week physically, I said a 5 because I did work out Monday, but then I had the sinus infection that like took me out for the rest of the week. But like still, I'm not going to give myself a pass. Like I tried to get up, walk around, be active a little bit. So that's why it was a 5 instead of like maybe a 3. Maybe it should have been a 3. But like anybody else want to happen to share like if they rated their category lower than a 5?
We can add the 2 of mine under physicality.
There we go.
We're up to 7.
Let's go, Zay.
Similar thing. I didn't feel the best last week, and it's really easy to kind of push the gym aside or even just get up and stretch when you're not feeling great. It's really easy to sit on the couch and mope, and yeah. So it was a 2 for me.
Yeah.
Well, in rating ourselves how we did last week, the cool thing is we're not trying to beat ourselves up. We're just trying to create awareness around that category. So like you had a 2, I had a 5. The good news is this week coming up, we're not sick.
Right.
So now we can prioritize, all right, let's make sure we're doing it. So this week already, I've worked out twice, so I know for this week, I'm better than a 5,
Absolutely. Yeah, just having that awareness is just a great reminder, and just also that's just one of these buckets that we're supposed to hit.
Yeah.
And if we're consistently looking at these different buckets of our life, it's really impactful.
Agreed. Yeah, I rated myself physically as a 4.
Okay.
I used to go to the gym like religiously. I would go 3 to 4 times a week, and then we had our daughter, and then everything was about her. And I used to wake up at 4 a.m. I used to, read 10 pages of my Bible, take the dogs out on a walk, come back, get ready, go to the gym, and then come home, take a shower, and then start my day. I rated a 4 though because we do have a laborious job that we do. We're lifting stuff, we're moving stuff, swinging sledgehammers, but that's still no excuse for me to not create the time in the morning to do that. And that also goes internally. Mine was a 5. I'll admit that I don't read the Bible every morning anymore. I kind of I try to put it in where I can. I wish I was reading it more, so that's definitely something I'm going to start implementing because my life's a little less hectic now. I can definitely wake back up at 4 a.m. My daughter is sleeping through the night, so there's no issue there. I can wake up at 4 a.m., hold myself accountable and, go hit those goals again. So I'm pretty excited for that. It was definitely an eye-opener with doing this, and I was like, man, I am definitely slacking those 2 departments. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And again, not just beat yourself up, but just say, hey, let's do better this next week.
Hold accountable for sure.
Yeah.
It's good criticism to yourself.
100%.
We all need.
Yeah.
After hearing what you guys said, I did rank myself as a 5, but thinking back at it, I didn't miss a day in the gym last week, and I actually got out on Wednesday and did some extra fitness with some of the guys I coach. So I think that should be maybe a 6 or a little bit higher. But where I really felt myself fall short was like internally last week.
Yeah,
I rated myself at a 3 because I had a tough conversation with my boss, kind of realizing that I need to start looking elsewhere for a job for next year. And I was like relying really heavily on having a job there for next year. But so I picked up a job with one of the rugby guys that I play with on the Bombers, and doing some side work with him, and just kind of really like falling into my network. But I kind of beat myself up quite a bit, and let a lot of other just random habits and everything fall last week because of that hard conversation I had.
Yeah. So that hard conversation was probably part of that 20%, that's like, oh, wait. And it does. If we don't still try to have that other 80% on our calendar, that's where it can derail us really quick. And same thing, you know what I mean, for getting sick, like that's a 20% that you can't account for. And then it derails the physical. Now, thankfully, because I was sick, I did really good at reading my daily devotional and Bible like every day. So internally last week, I did great. But, but professionally, I was also kind of low because when I'm at home, it sounds like, I'm talking through a speaker or, like I'm not going to call people and try to really drive some business.
Right.
But, a couple things got accounted for. So,
That's good.
yeah, giving yourself some grace when those things happen. But calling yourself forward, and being able to rate yourself. It's paying weekly attention to these things, right? One of the quotes I wrote down was from Aristotle: "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." So it's not about, repeatedly. I forgot who said it. You can miss one day, just don't miss 2 in a row.
Right.
Right.
Right. No, like how Danny said, he was like, with going to the gym, it's not like second nature. Like it became a habit, and he feels like it's it's not a regular day unless he goes to the gym. So
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with that completely. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely felt a shift, like through college and everything for me for over the last 4 and 5 years. I didn't go to the gym. I was living out in Wales, playing rugby out in Wales
That's
through
awesome.
college,
Wow.
and was not going to the gym and hitting up the pubs quite a bit.
Right. Right.
But I finally, in the last actually like 3-4 months, I started to make sure that through like using the habit app and everything, I'm hitting the gym 3 times a week, a minimum.
Yeah.
And felt like an entire shift in myself, like just in my energy. And then when I go in the gym to the gym in the morning, it's a way to start my day like really productively.
Yeah.
And if I hit the gym in the evening, it's like a nice end to my day where I go home, eat, relax, and actually like take that time to just kind of some self-care time for myself.
Yeah. Decompress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I
when
agree.
you're able to gamify it, whether it's doing the exercise we did tonight or have an app, or I brought my Whoop back out and I can track my sleep now, and any way
Nice.
you can gamify it, I think is just going to help.
No, I agree. There was something recently. It was like an app that like you level up in life, and it's like an actual video game that it's what you do in life. Like you get certain points for it, and like I forget what it's called. I would love to shout it out right now, but I saw like an ad for it, and I was like, that is insane. I was like, now you got goals for your life, and you're hitting them, you're ticking them, and you level up.
Well,
So,
I mean, a lot of people have said if you get 1% better every day,
mhm.
that's 365% better. That means you've changed as a human 3 times over in a year.
Wow.
So if you just break it down to 1% a day, on one of our calls today, this investor, she was talking about how the whole project is overwhelming her and she just doesn't know where to start. And the thing I said was like, how do you run a marathon? One step at a time. How do you eat an
Yeah.
elephant one bite at a time? That's a funny saying. I don't know anybody that's eaten an elephant, but where that comes from. Anyway, but just like being able to look, it's like, okay, what's 1% better that I can get tomorrow? And then if you do that over the course of the year, you're going to be a completely different person multiple times over by the end of that year.
I think it's a healthy way to do that too, because I have this a lot in my golf lessons, is where somebody comes in and they may want to be a marathon runner or a scratch golfer, so to speak. But we've got to take one step at a time before we just start training for 20 miles plus a day, or hitting a lot of balls, or super technique based. So I think it's also healthy to go at it as more of a 1% better a day versus trying to eat the whole elephant at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You did fix my wedges in like one section though.
Dude,
so like
I
one
need
section,
some
so.
lessons, because we did a thing with the Chamber of Commerce. It was a golf event, and man, I was hitting them into the woods. It was so embarrassing. We had like teamed up with another group of 2, and I was just like, what am I doing here right now? I was like,
Zane's
do
your
I
man.
just grab a drink and just act like my swing's that bad?
As long as you're having a good time and you're
no, it
making
was-
sure
it was-
everybody
yeah.
else is, that's all people
Yeah.
care about.
No, for sure.
That's awesome. Guys, well, we'll wrap up here. A couple more quotes, for those out there who missed it, or if you want to do this stuff at home, talking about how framework is freedom, how creating discipline and aiming our lives at the things that we want to aim at, the things that bring us not just success, but fulfillment, right? Because I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of uber successful people who have a lot of money who are not fulfilled in life. So Stephen Covey, the key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. And William James says the first step in shaping the life you want is to get rid of those things that you don't. So do yourself a favor, rate yourself on a 1 to 10 scale. How did I do last week internally, relationally, physically, and professionally? And then write down all the things that you have to do next week. Write down one task. If you got to cook food, that's one task. You might do it a few times in that week, but that's one task. Write all those tasks down. And then once you've done that, look at those tasks and find out if they have anything to do with how you'll feel this week internally, relationally, physically, or professionally, and watch how you can shape your week. So, guys, thanks so much for jumping in here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pleasure.
yeah, pleasure
Thank
doing
you.
it. Yeah.